Imagine stumbling upon a buried treasure, not just gold but a hoard of priceless artifacts. In 1963, in Villena, Spain, archaeologists led by José María Soler García unearthed the treasure of Villena, 59 objects, mostly pure gold. Among the bracelets and bowls, 2 objects stood out, not for their shine but for their mystery. One was a small hollow hemisphere, possibly a sword pommel, decorated with gold foil. The other, a simple open-ended bracelet. Unlike the gold, these looked dark and rusted, made of iron, a material that shouldn't have existed in the Bronze Age. To archaeologists, these iron pieces were baffling. The treasure of Villena was celebrated for its craftsmanship, but these 2 objects didn't fit. They were a clue from the future in a scene from the past. The gold told a story of power and artistry, but the iron pieces were a historical anomaly. They sat quietly among the gold, holding a secret far older and more cosmic than anyone could have imagined. Their story wasn't about earthly wealth, but about a journey that began millions of miles away, in the vast darkness of space. These pieces weren't just out of place. They were, as we would later find out, literally out of this world. For years, the gold was the main attraction, but the iron remained a persistent question mark. The mystery of these objects would take decades to unravel. What were these iron pieces doing in a Bronze Age treasure? The answer would change our understanding of ancient technology forever. The biggest problem with these iron objects was their age. The treasure of Villena dates to the late Bronze Age, between 1400 and 1200 BC. Iron technology didn't arrive in Iberia until centuries later. Finding worked iron objects from this era was like finding a smartphone in a 1920s photo. How could a Bronze Age society create iron objects? Smelting iron from ore requires advanced furnaces and knowledge. The presence of these artifacts suggested someone had discovered Iron Age technology centuries early. For decades, the mystery remained unsolved. Were these evidence of a lost civilization, or was there another explanation? The objects were too precious for destructive testing, so they waited for better science. These weren't just lumps of iron, they were finished, decorated objects. Whoever made them knew how to work iron to heat, hammer, and shape it. This skill was the hallmark of the Iron Age, yet here it was, centuries early. The question remained, where did this iron come from? How did Bronze Age smiths learn to use it? The puzzle challenged everything we thought we knew about ancient technology. The answer would require looking beyond Earth itself. The mystery deepened, waiting for science to catch up. To solve the puzzle, we have to look to the stars. Meteorites, fragments of asteroids, are rich in iron and have been falling to Earth for billions of years. For ancient people, finding one was like receiving a gift from the gods. Meteoritic iron is different from terrestrial iron. It's already metallic and contains a high concentration of nickel. Earth's iron has less than 1% nickel. Meteoritic iron can have 530%. This high nickel content is the unmistakable fingerprint of an extraterrestrial origin. The presence of nickel makes meteoritic iron harder and more resistant to rust. Ancient smiths who found meteorites discovered a material superior to bronze but incredibly rare. You couldn't mine it, you had to wait for it to fall from the sky. Meteoritic iron was more precious than gold. The theory emerged. What if the Villena iron was sky iron? Bronze Age smiths wouldn't need to invent smelting. They'd use metal already in a workable form. They could heat and hammer it, just as they did with copper and gold. This hypothesis connected a Spanish treasure to the cosmic dust of our solar system. All that was needed was proof. Could science finally confirm the iron's celestial origin? The answer would rewrite history. The time for speculation was over. Scientists now had the tools to analyze ancient artifacts without damaging them. A team from Spain and Portugal examined the 2 Villena iron pieces using mass spectrometry. This technique vaporizes a microscopic sample and identifies each element by its mass. It's like a chemical fingerprint for ancient artifacts. The team took tiny samples from the hemisphere and bracelet. The samples went into the mass spectrometer, separating the elements with precision. Would the iron be terrestrial, or would it show the telltale signature of the stars? This was the moment of truth after 60 years of questions. The data would reveal the iron's true origin. The hunt for answers was reaching its thrilling conclusion. The results would change everything. The results were stunning. The hemisphere pommel contained 5.5% nickel. The bracelet, 2.8%. Far higher than any terrestrial iron. This was meteoritic iron. The mystery was solved. The iron came from a meteorite. Bronze Age artisans didn't need advanced furnaces. The cosmos delivered the metal ready to use. They recognized its potential and shaped it with their existing skills. This was the first confirmed case of meteoritic iron from Bronze Age Iberia. Similar objects have been found elsewhere, like King Tutankhamun's dagger in Egypt. Across cultures, ancient people valued this rare material from space. The Valena iron pieces are now the most valuable items in the collection. They represent a connection to the cosmos, a story of wonder and discovery. The past was more extraordinary than we ever imagined. This discovery reshapes our understanding of Bronze Age technology in Spain. These societies hadn't mastered iron production, but they mastered its use when they found it. Recognizing and working meteoritic iron was a major achievement. Ancient smiths were experimental scientists, exploring new materials. Someone had to find a meteorite, recognize its uniqueness, and risk forging it. The hemisphere was adorned with gold, showing meteoritic iron's immense value. It was likely seen as magical or divine, a symbol of status and connection to the gods. This wasn't just a tool, it was an object of spiritual importance. The story of metalworking is more complex than a simple Bronze to Iron Age transition. For a select few, iron was a rare luxury, not a common technology. The treasure of Valena reveals a forgotten chapter, a meteoritic Iron Age. Valena's discovery is part of a global story. Across the world, ancient cultures used meteoritic iron long before the Iron Age. King Tut's dagger in Egypt, artifacts in Turkey, China, Greenland, and North America all share this cosmic origin. Wherever people found meteorites, they recognized their value and learned to work them. This wasn't a single invention, but a universal human response to a rare phenomenon. Finding a meteorite was like winning the geological lottery. The Valena artifacts place Iberia in an elite network of early iron users. These people were as technologically curious as any in Egypt or the Near East. They were not on the periphery. They were part of the ancient world's great story of discovery. Spain's sky iron is a ticket to humanity's first steps in working with the stars. The search for answers continues. More tests, like isotope analysis, could link the iron to a specific meteorite. Other mysterious Bronze Age iron artifacts may also be meteoritic. This discovery opens new avenues for research across Europe. Scientists want to know how ancient smiths worked the metal, by cold hammering or heating. Examining the microstructure could reveal their techniques. The ultimate prize would be finding the source meteorite itself. Matching the artifact's chemistry to a local meteorite would close the loop. Each new discovery brings us closer to understanding this cosmic connection. The story of Valena is far from over. The meteoritic iron of Valena changes how we see the past. It blurs the lines between historical ages, Iron Age technology in the heart of the Bronze Age. The find elevates ancient Iberia, showing its people as innovators and skilled artisans. The hemisphere and bracelet are testaments to their ingenuity and their connection to the wider world and the cosmos. The past is full of surprises, waiting for science to reveal them. A treasure discovered 60 years ago can still rewrite history. Every new analysis has the potential to change what we know. The unassuming iron objects are now the most profound pieces in the collection. They connect Spain to Egypt, to the stars, and to the timeless human drive for discovery. Sometimes, the greatest treasures are the ones that hold the biggest mysteries.